Hello and welcome to another scrapbooking process video. Today I am going to be scrapbooking with the hip kit from September. I have the main kit and the add-on, and this right on top here is actually the May 2021 kit. I'm not going to be using that, I just took it out just in case. And this is a page and a half that you'll be seeing in this video, and in the whole scrapping session I actually did 2 and 2/2 pages, so like 2 pages that kind of coordinate with one another, and then one 6 by 12 inch insert that has stuff on either side. And so if you're interested in seeing what comes next, make sure that you watch the next video. So I was live streaming while I did this, so that's why the camera footage is a little bit different. You see me up in the corner there. And I did leave the room for a few minutes to go down to the basement to grab my Halloween themed scrapbooking supplies, which I keep in this iris container, or I forget the brand, but anyhow, in that container that you see right there. I'm actually not going to end up using those items. This is a fall themed kit, but not necessarily a Halloween themed kit. And I just need to familiarize myself with it because I actually didn't even open it when it came in September. So I had never seen this stuff before. I have 3 photos to scrapbook, and these 2 go together. So there's a photo of my older daughter and her boyfriend carving pumpkins, and then a picture of the completed pumpkins. I also have a photo of my other daughter and her friend on it, and all of these photos were taken from Halloween night, and that's what I'm going to scrapbook here. So I like this pattern paper here because it picks up on the turquoise in the background of the photo on the walls, but I like this even more, this kind of geometric. I like that it's a little bit offset, and I like that it has those angles, and my thought is that maybe I could do some journaling along those angles. And I just really love paper that shows a diagonal angle on it. For some reason, it just is my thing. That's what somebody on the Patreon's live stream told me, is that, oh, that paper is just you. So I think they're right. I do tend to love those. So what I've decided at this point is that I'm going to go ahead and scrapbook just this picture on a 12 by 12 page. And then what I might do is some type of a partial page. I wasn't sure exactly what, but I usually make my partial pages be 6 by 12. So that's probably what, I mean, I know, spoiler alert, I know how this ends. And I did do a 6 by 12, but that's what I was kind of thinking I would do anyways. I'm going to use the back side of this paper. Now, all of the paper in this kit is exclusive paper to the Hip Kit Club. And so it all came in that kit, and getting that kit is really the only way to get this paper. So you'll have to check the website. It's hipkitclub.net. And they usually do have their old kits in stock. Like, they usually have a couple left over. So hopefully if you like what you see here, especially, man, I love that pattern paper I just had in my hand. I won't get a chance to use it today, but man, I love that paper. I'm just adding a couple of layers here. So I did matte the photo first on that gray, it looks like almost like a blueprint paper, and it almost looks like a microfiche blueprint because it has that gray washed out look to it. And I didn't look at the back of this before I tore it, and I might have liked to have used that "Love This" banner, but I decided just to not even try to cut it out. I'm just going to use this as a matte. I'm going to use Stampin' Up! Dimensional adhesive between these 2 layers just to give me a little bit more lift and dimension, and that casts a nice interesting gray shadow between my layers and just emphasizes the layers a little bit more. Just having a little sip of coffee and I'm just, thinking about what else I'm going to use. I have to familiarize myself with these embellishments, and I do really like these stickers. And so I'm thinking I could use those for a title or subtitle or just for decoration. I tend to not like to use huge word stickers for embellishments because they tend to compete with my title, but sometimes I might want to use them for my title. So I'm just grabbing these valet trays. These I got from Chapters Indigo, which is a big box bookstore here in Canada. Those are really great for holding embellishments, and I like that they can kind of lie flat when you're not using them. So I'm just having a look at the backs of these packages. These are all exclusive to the Hip Kit Club embellishments, die cuts and whatnot. And I picked out this one. It says something about falling in love or something like that. It's like a play on words with the fall autumn theme. But I decided that that was actually too floral. This set of die cuts are more of the style that I'm looking for, more of a funky, fun, whimsical kind of look instead of a floral, more mature theme. Because these are, I'm scrapbooking teenagers, but they ended up being too school oriented, so I didn't go with them at all. I don't think. No, I didn't. And I didn't realize it as I was composing this page, but it's going to end up being a very clean and simple look. So some of my pages are quite heavily embellished with lots and lots of detail. This one is going to be fairly sparse, and that's for a reason, and we'll get into that as we go along. So these letter stickers, they're puffy letter stickers. They're from the September Days collection from Hip Kit Club, and they're definitely going to make it on this page. And at this point, I'm just kind of thinking about what am I going to do? I definitely want to play off of the angles. And I know I'm waving my hands around a lot, and that's because I am chatting with the people who are in the chat on the screen. If you're interested in participating in any of these live streams, I do them once a month with my Patreons, and it's really nice, intimate kind of scrapbooking event because there's not usually a whole slew of people on. I do them at all different times of day so that different members can benefit from the time of day and that sort of thing. So anyhow, I have decided that I want my photo to be lined up like this, which is a little askew, but it's lined up with the angles of those lines on the paper. And I'm still just kind of getting a sense for what I want to do. I definitely want to use those star letter stickers, and I'm just thinking about some of these word stickers. I'm wondering what the your goes with, but I can't quite find it. And I'm reading the chat here. I don't know what I'm saying. So I spend a lot of time just kind of looking at what I have and thinking and waiting for an idea to hit me. I don't plan these pages ahead ever, or the very, very occasional time when I do, I usually will say so right at the beginning. Like, I had an idea and here's my thought. But in this, as in many cases, I'm just kind of bumbling around trying to figure out what I want to do here. So I can't find my thickers placement ruler, the straight one. I can find the curved ones, but I can't find the straight one. It's in here somewhere. It went missing when I did my major shuffle of my scrap room. So I am going to use these letter stickers. Again, those are from the September Days collection. They're the puffy stickers that came in the Hip Kit. And I think I don't know what I'm looking up there, but I'm thinking about titles, and my hesitation is I want to call this Let's Get Physical, and I just want to make sure that we know that this is a reference to the 80s music song by Olivia Newton-John and not something that I'm necessarily encouraging, not an activity. So I'm going with it. After some hesitation, I decided it's the title that sounds kind of like the most fun, and they were dressed up like 80s fitness enthusiasts, so I thought that it was a fitting title. And I'm going to spell out, and it's a good thing that I'm using this ruler to help me, and sometimes I'll use wax paper and sometimes I'll use my rulers. Obviously, physical isn't going to fit on the same line. So I'm going to put Let's Get on one line and physical will go below. And I'm just spacing those out on the rulers the best that I can. And I don't pay too much attention to exactly how straight they are, because I find that usually once you put these onto the page, you do have to reshuffle them around a little bit, unless if you're super, super careful anyways. So rather than reshuffling them twice, I'm just kind of getting them on there the best I can the first time. And then once they're on the page, I will pay more attention to making sure that they're lined up. And sometimes I don't really care so much about things being lined up, but because I'm going with the lines on the paper, I do want to make sure that I get this lined up relatively straight. Doesn't have to be perfect, but I want it to be relatively straight. And so obviously, actually not obviously yet. Let's just wait till we get there. So I'm putting them on like this, and then I'll put my little apostrophe. And my thought is that these words will be kind of like vertical-ish, and then, you know, the title will be vertical-ish is what I'm thinking. But wait till you see what happens when I do that. Maybe you can see already that it's, ooh, that's wrong, right? It's moving. What's wrong with that is that it's moving too much from right to left instead of from left to right, which is the way that the eye kind of naturally wants to go. So I decided to shift it around, and luckily I didn't have to move the letter stickers because there was enough room for the photo and all of its layers to still nest in nicely between the L in Let's and the P in Physical, and it still works well this way. So there's that. So I'm liking the look of that. And now I just have to decide on some embellishments. And whenever I have a title dominant layout, I almost always want to go with more of a clean and simple look. I always like to minimize the other writing on a title dominant layout, just so that I don't want anything competing. I find that if I put other text on the page, it kind of competes with the title, and that's kind of what I love about a title dominant page, is that the title really stands out, and so I don't want to take away from that too much. Now I would like to layer some of these denim embellishments that came in the kit. They're really, really cool. They have a nice fabric texture to them, and then a cardstock backing, and I really love the little tags on the pockets. They look like real Levi's tags, but they say things like OMG and LOL, and this one says yay. And so I decided to add a flag, but just a part of a flag up in the top, and then I will add a part of a pocket there. And then I decided, I actually think I might want the bottom part of that. At first I thought I would tuck it in a way that you wouldn't see the other side, and then I decided maybe I want like both parts of that pocket sticking out, but that was really too much blue. I didn't want too much. I just wanted a very, very subtle layering here. So I decided to go with it this way and have it so that you can't see the bottom of that pocket at all. I also just use my fingers to curl up the tab part of that so that it looks a little bit worn, like a real pair of jeans. And then I had taken out the dimensional adhesive that I had put in place a few minutes ago, so I had to replace those with new ones. And there is the majority of the layout right there. And all that I'm going to do is add some stars to this. So these transparent star stickers came in the kit as well. They're also Hip Kit Club exclusives, as this entire kit is. I think there's one item in here that is a Pink Fresh Studio paper. I'm going to put that embellishment back because I'm not going to use it, and I just want to take a closer look through the actual embellishments here. And so nothing is really standing out as really going along with this. I wasn't sure if there might be some non-school related things in here as well as the school related, but it's really quite strongly school related. So none of these things are really going to help me tell the story that I'm trying to tell, and so I'm not going to use them. Here we're just having a discussion about the white edges around the outsides of these die cuts and how some of them have it and some of them don't, and do you like that or not like that. One suggestion that I have for working with that is to outline it with a black marker as well. And sometimes that can add to and make that white outline look like it's part of the boldness that you're looking for. Another option is to cut it off if you don't like it. So these wood veneer number stickers came with the kit, and I really like how it has the ST and RD and all those little endings so that you can use it for dates. And so I am going to use those at some point on this layout. I'm just not using it quite yet. And so I knew that I wanted to do some journaling on this page, but I was a little bit distracted and not very organized in my thought process for this page. And so I went ahead and started off these clusters of star stickers. And I really love the star motif with something like exercise because it's a very energetic kind of an embellishment. So I think that these stars are perfect. And when you put only 2 of them in a cluster, it looks too much like lines. And so I'm going to put a third one in each of these places. This one I'm actually going to have it so that it hangs off the page. And typically if I do that, I don't like it to only be in one place. But in this case, I'm not going to bother too much with that. So if that's like an unstated, rule, there are no real rules, but if you like to do that, then just kind of be mindful that some people like to kind of repeat an element like that just to make the page look pulled together and like it didn't happen by accident. But for me, I'm just overlooking it. I don't really care about that today. Some days I do care about that. I just wrote in smaller handwriting there, Olivia Newton-John would be proud, just to make it clear that we're talking about the song. Because remember, the kids might not even know that was a song. I'm sure that they've heard it, but I just want to make it really clear. So here's my partial page that I'm starting, and I've decided that, kind of like right off the bat, I've decided that I really like this paper as a companion paper for that other background paper on the other layout that I just finished. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this down to 6 by 12 so that it'll fit. I know that I have 6 by 12 pocket page protectors, so it's an easy insert size for me to go with. And now this insert is not going to necessarily, I'm not really making a 1.5 page layout here, which I have done that before. In this case, I really just want this to be almost like a little companion insert. So my goal isn't for your eye to view the I guess it would be like 18 by 12 inches as a full spread, but more kind of like a 12 by 12 and a 6 by 12. But I do want to continue some elements and repeat some elements. So I'm going to use that same gray blueprinty type of background, ledgery kind of paper. And it looked like that paper was leaving a gray residue on my photo, which would have been really weird. I've never had that happen with paper before, but it's actually just the reflection of the lights on my door. We had like one of those swirly light shows displaying on the door, and that's what was caught in the photo. I just didn't notice it before then for some reason. So I pulled out this Stampin' Up punch that I've been keeping on my desk since I ordered it recently, and I'm going to demonstrate how it works here. This is my first time using it too, so I'm kind of learning as I go, and I did have to measure it. So the openings in this punch, it has like a multi-sized flag / banner type of punch situation going on. So the smallest one is 1/4 inch, and that's what I'm going to do. But I think I'm actually, I know because I remember it happening. It's only a couple of hours ago. I'm actually going to cut all 3 sizes just to show how it works. Since it's my first time using it, I want to see how it works, and I wanted to show it to the people who are watching live. And so basically it's got these channels, and the deepest channel is 1/4 inch, and you put it in and punch it, and it gives this nice flag. It looks like it's uneven, but that's just because of the wonky lines. This isn't the greatest paper to demonstrate this product because it looks uneven because of the lines on the paper, but it's not uneven. It's actually a really great way to make these pointy arrowy type of flags and fishtail flags without, there's lots of different ways to make these flags, but I make these flags so often that I thought a punch dedicated to it would be kind of cool. And I figured I'd get quite a bit of use out of this punch. So I went ahead and bought it from Stampin' Up, by the way. And so I made my little 1/4 inch flags there. And I want to point to each of the 3 pumpkins, jack-o'-lanterns that are in this photo. And this little half page is going to be a very tone-on-tone kind of look with the focus on the corally orangey kind of color because of the red lights on the door and the red pattern paper. And then even this is a red pattern paper. I'm just outlining it with my Sharpie marker no, not my Sharpie marker, my Sharpie pen, which they're different things. The pen is not a slick surface writer, which means it doesn't sink into the page and bleed quite as much. If you used a Sharpie marker, it would bleed too much and the line would look too thick and not very nice. So I'm going to put the names of each of the kids who carved these pumpkins on these little flags. And that will determine, between that and how much space there is, that will determine the length of those flags. Really, the space that's available is what will determine the length of them. I'm going to use a different marker for writing on this, and that's because it's a pattern paper, and I want these names to stand out. I'm using my Mono Twin, which is an oil-based double-sided marker, and it gives a real bold font, which I really like. It's very strong black color as well. So I just roughly cut the lengths of those, and then because they're no longer going to fit into the punch, I just used some temporary adhesive, attached it to one of those designer strips that I had hung on to for narrating so I'd remember who made the paper, and that allows me to stick those in to my punch so that I can get the nice flag banner ending on them. And there's Sophie's, and then this one is Noah's, and that same temporary adhesive, I just use Tombow mono temporary adhesive, and it just stays on the strip, so I can use it over and over again with the same adhesive, just to be able to. It just creates a little handle so that I can punch those even though they don't fit in. And I turn the punch over so that I can see exactly where I'm punching on the piece of paper instead of punching blindly. And I think I'll do a video specific to that punch as well. So keep an eye on my channel for that. So now that I have all of those flags punched, I'm going to, and outlined and labeled and everything. Now I just have to decide where they're going to go. And I like how putting them at different angles like that kind of picks up on the fact that the sister page has angles on it that are kind of unusual. And I like how it kind of contrasts with the 90-degree lines that are otherwise on the background paper here. So now I want to do some journaling here, and I'm going to do something very unusual for the journaling, something that I haven't done in a long time. I used to do this kind of thing back when I started scrapbooking, which is journal all around something, kind of like follow the lines of a pattern paper or an item, and kind of journal all around it. It's just kind of like a different, more creative way to do your journaling, a little bit less boring than just some lines, which, lines of journaling is fine. But now I decided to pre-write my journaling just so that I knew what I was going to say, so I could have a sense of just how long it will be. Now, after I did that, I was kind of thinking and trying to decide, it's a bit risky doing something like this, right? Like, it could have easily not turned out very good. And so I wrote the date just to remind myself to put the date, and then I decided I'll just grab my roller date stamp right now and make sure. I couldn't remember if I had one that had 2021 on it. I do have one left that has 2021, so that's the roller date stamp that I'm going to use for at least a month or so, and then I'll have to buy a new one. So I am adding a bit more journaling here, and I'll read it to you once I kind of spell it all out here. So before I put that journaling on the page, I've decided I am going to use these number wood veneer stickers the way that I had thought I might, which is to write out the 31st. And I don't want to use them plain wood. I'd like to kind of play on my tone on tone on tone kind of look, where I've got like a really red photo on really red kind of background paper. It's more of a coral, but you know what I mean. And so I took out my Zig Clean Color Real Brush markers, and I looked up looking for, it's called Scarlet Red, I think I used. And it's really more of an orange. It's called Scarlet Red, but it looks more orange to me. Let me double check that it is Scarlet Red. Yes, Scarlet Red. And so I just used the side of my marker to color those in gently. Don't want to damage the brush tip or anything. And as you can see, that I like that doesn't kind of like take away from anything, but it just adds a little bit more interest to this little half page here. I'm going to go ahead and place my layers, making sure that marker isn't running. It isn't. I had a moment there of worrying that it might have left orange ink on my fingers, but it didn't. Now I'm going to use some more of the Stampin' Up! Dimensional adhesive to point to the pumpkins, to the jack-o'-lanterns. And I'll put Sophie's on there. I like that they're all different lengths, and they're also at all different angles as well. I'll put Liv's up like that. And I will have to cut just a tiny bit of the tail off of the edge of Liv's flag. And now I'm just inking just the date part of that roller date stamp. I'm not inking the little design thing on the other side. And now I'm again kind of thinking about where am I going to put the stars and what am I going to do with my journaling here. So I thought about doing it in a block. And at this point, I still haven't had my idea about how to, I don't think I've had my idea yet about how to do this. So I thought maybe I should do some journaling lines. And I thought that's going to be too distracting with there's already lots of lines here. And I thought maybe I could do like some journaling around the outside of one of those squares or a group of those squares. And what I decided to do was what Shell ended up calling Tetris journaling. So my journaling is going to go in funny block-shaped lines all around some of these. Yeah, it's going to go like that, right? That's what we're going to do. And I keep kind of pulling the other page over just to see how I think these two pages are going to look together, because when they're lying open, it's going to you're going to see both of them, right? So I want them to look nice together. I cut off the little edge of the flag of Liv's banner that was kind of sticking out. And now, because this is pretty risky journaling that I'm doing, it could end up looking very weird, and you might indeed think that it looks weird, but I actually really like it, I might not have. So I am going to go ahead and space out my journaling very lightly with pencil. And the journaling marker that I usually use is that Sharpie pen. And I specifically choose to use the Sharpie pen for my journaling because you can erase it. You can't erase it, but you can erase the pencil lines underneath of your journaling without that marker fading. That's one of the features that I really, really love about, I'm calling it a marker, but it's the Sharpie pen that I'm talking about. So I really do love that. Although I am not going to do that on this. You'll see what I'm going to do. But I could have done it that way. Like I penciled it all out, and now I could just go ahead and write right over my pencil marks. And then after I'm finished writing over my pencil marks, I could have very lightly erased over it, and it would not have made my Sharpie pen markings any lighter or make them smear or anything. But what I'm doing instead is I'm erasing the pencil word by word and then putting the marker words in the place of where the pencil words just were. I had to think a little bit to make sure I said that right. So I will read you what this journaling says. It says, Noah came over on Halloween night to watch movies with Liv. To our surprise, they dressed up like 80s fitness enthusiasts and carved pumpkins. It's so cool to see them get into the spirit. And as you can see, I was a little bit worried about you being able to follow this journaling, but really each word leads to the next word. So even though it's a little bit complicated in its path around the page, it is logical. Like it doesn't stop and start anywhere. You just kind of keep on going until you come to the end of it. So I don't think that it's going to be a problem for people who aren't me, who read this journaling. I think they'll be able to follow it and read it just fine. That's the hope anyways. So there you go. That's how it looks. And I'm really, really pleased with it. Just looking over my dates for upcoming live streams. The next one is December 14th for Patreons. So if you want to join me for a month and participate in that one, you can. You don't have to, keep renewing every month. You can subscribe for 1 month and then unsubscribe. That's okay. I don't mind at all. Just taking down some ideas for different times so that everybody can participate. And I'm going to place some of these stars randomly, and I did forget to zoom out, so sorry about that. And look, there's another star going off the page, so that kind of helps with the fact that that other one went off the page. So I have less room for 3 down here, so I am actually going to snuggle them up to my layers, and here's another one that's going off the page. But now what I don't like is that they're only coming out of the layers on the bottom and not on the top, so I have decided to put another one coming out of the layers up here, just so that it's a little bit more consistent. So there you go. It also helps with the spacing because they were closer together at the bottom and further apart in the top, so that makes 2 of them a little bit closer together. So here are the 2 companion pages side by side, and if you want to see the back side, I do something with that glasses paper and a whole other layout as a companion, so that these 3 pages, or 4 depending on if you count both sides of the half. All of these pages work well together. They all use the Hip Kit Club from September of 2021. And they're designed to kind of go together. There you can see the other one kind of peeking out there, but that's how they all look together. So thanks so much for watching this video. Check out the next one if you're interested in seeing the spooky, scary, silly layout. Also a clean and simple one, so it comes together pretty quickly. Take care and have a really great scrappy week.